Welcome to the BamCam with Jack Burnette and Alison Castellano from RFG Advisory. In this podcast, we explore how life and financial well-being are intertwined. We'll look into areas concerning motivation and attitude, financial planning, investing, and much more. Our goal is to empower you with the information and resources you need to help manage your money and strive towards the life you've always wanted. So sit back, relax, and join us on this journey of uncovering your true self and achieving financial independence.
Hello and welcome to the BamCam podcast with your hosts, Jack Burnette and Alison Castellano. I'm Wendy McConnell. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. We're all fresh-faced and, it's still kind of the new year. So we're hoping for the big, goal-setting charge.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We're trying to encourage everyone to live their best life.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, is that what we're talking about today? Living our best life?
Well, we're talking about fitness,
Yeah.
physical fitness. We've talked about all kinds of fitness, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but this time of year, people often think about that.
Yeah. So in our previous episodes, we've talked about setting some financial resolutions, and then we talked about setting some other resolutions, and just this is a time of year for a reset. A lot of people are trying to improve various aspects of their life, their fitness level, their finances, their mental health.
We talked a lot, in a couple of episodes ago, when we did our financial resolutions, we talked about that Forbes study that talked about people that tend to make resolutions, and the number one endeavor that they wanted to pursue was improve their physical fitness. And that was number one. Over almost half of all people that make resolutions want to do something with physical fitness. And that's why we're here today. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the physical fitness journey that we've been on, Alison, as a family. Barbara and I started and joined a gym 13 years ago, almost 13 years ago, here in Birmingham, called Irontribe Fitness. At that point in time, I think it had been open about a year, maybe a little less. And it was a small one gym location. And we've been fortunate to see the owner, Forrest Walden, who founded Irontribe, grow this to a very significant, large business, and are very excited. So Barbara and I started 13 years ago. Alison, you graduated college, and then and
About a year later.
And then Adrian, when he got married to you, he joined.
I didn't give him a choice, to be honest. I said, you're joining Irontribe Fitness. Like, just come on.
Yeah.
So
We have a special guest today, Karen Broadwater, who we have known since we joined Irontribe, and she has a remarkable journey. Karen is now the president of Irontribe Fitness, and she's going to tell us a little bit about that journey, because it's a remarkable journey, because you started as a client. And when we joined, were you just still a fellow client?
When y'all joined, I think I had
You must have
just
been.
probably started working there.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe as an assistant.
Yes, I was just Forrest assistant at that time.
Interesting. Karen, we just love you and adore you and have enjoyed our friendship for a long time. And I've been amazed watching you grow personally through this journey. And so tell us a little bit about yourself and your story, and
Sure.
and how you've ascended to run this fitness empire.
Can I be the queen?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we'll get you a crown and everything.
Absolutely.
Well, first, I think this may be the podcast I've been the most honored to even be invited to. I hold you and your family in such high esteem because you've been around. I've seen you don't always get to see people in the gym and see the hard work that they put in. And that makes you respect some people at a deeper level than you'll ever see. Like I could see accolades. I could see you doing well in your career, you doing well, but to see you put the work in behind the scenes when it's hard and when you want to cuss or when you do cuss or when you're running, when it's raining and your knee hurts and all those things. So the respect I've gained for your entire family is tremendous. So even being asked to be on here, I was like, the Burnettes adopted me. So I love that. But my journey really started as a client, lost my mom at a very early age, went into depression. I was always had like kind of a proclivity to gain weight easily anyway. So that yo-yo dieter, grew up baby of the 80s, snack well, slim fast, all those things that turned out to not be so healthy for you. So that was always kind of my default. So at some point I just had a friend that was like, we just got to get you in the gym. You're depressed, basically. And so I ended up joining the gym. I sit at about 50, 60 pounds less than I was sitting then now and keep it off. And I'm healthy and I'm older than I was and I'm better than I was even when I was younger. So came on as a client, was obsessed with this one location gym and just how it genuinely, it sounds cheesy and people who aren't a part of it think that we're a cult. And I understand that, but it really changed my life, really, in so many different areas.
Ours too.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's where I think this is the perfect blend. I never would have thought fitness person on a financial podcast, but at the same time, I believe so much in how fitness and how you feel about your body and how you look in the mirror and how you just physically move affects every decision in your entire day. Like,
Yes.
you may not be looking at your bank account all day, but you're in your body all day, right? And so then all of the small micro decisions throughout the day are through the lens of how you feel, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So changed my life, I say begged, I was very meek back then, still young, begged Forrest to let me work for him. Hired 2 people in front of me. I always make the joke now that he doesn't hire anymore because obviously he was a poor choice to look over me twice. And ended up coming on board, and I'm pretty much a yes person, but not in the pushover way, but I want to learn constantly and just continuously ask for more and more and more. And so many years later, ended up in the president's role after playing every role from real estate development, construction, management. I actually did accounting for a little while. That was a disaster. We had to clean that one up. But see, I just kind of did a little bit of everything and eventually had all the hats to be able to kind of wrangle the troops together. And hopefully I'm continuing to do a good job.
Well, to me, that's just kind of fascinating, just to see your growth as a professional, to go from truly just as an administrative assistant role to a very polished business executive. And when I listen to you talk on your podcast and that sort of thing, I'm sitting here thinking I've been fortunate to meet a number of very strong, productive women executives out there, and you're as good as any.
Oh,
and it's just, I think it's just, it's very, very impressive. And it's a remarkable story. And I also, I give Forrest credit. He has pushed you, and probably I can only imagine at times maybe screaming and kicking into a role that you were probably very uncomfortable with.
Just right in the deep end, figure it out.
And trusted you to figure it out and get results, but he knows that that's how you're wired.
Right. Absolutely.
And to do that. So I think it's
leadership to trust somebody to risk failure for sure.
Yeah.
True. And so I think that's, to me, that's just one of the most amazing stories that, you get to be 67 years old and you've been working out there in a career that's over 40 years long and that sort of thing. You see a lot of interesting and neat things over the course of your life. And not that we've been doing business together, but I have been able to observe you and your business. And your story is one of those that just sticks with me. That's remarkable.
I love that.
So, we talked a little bit about, we've talked in many of our episodes, how to really have peace and satisfaction in your life. It requires having fitness on multiple dimensions. Obviously, financial fitness is one, financial stress is a really not good in a household. It's not good for relationships. It's not good for anybody's mental health and so forth. But also, I feel very strongly that you need physical fitness. You need social and emotional fitness. and spiritual fitness. I think
Mhm.
they all tie in together to living a meaningful, happy life so that you can be a good parent, you can be a good business partner, you can be a good spouse, you can be a good whatever. You need some balance with all of that. Tell us a little bit about Irontribe in general and the history of Irontribe and how it's grown into a network that's really in multiple states and multiple cities and plus major expansion here in Birmingham. And then after that, also tell us a little bit about how Irontribe approaches this kind of multi-dimension
Yeah.
from what working with their clients.
First, I like that you even use fitness for all areas, like spiritual fitness, financial fitness. Even that term alone can be a little bit divisive, right? Fitness isn't this thing that you're like, oh, fitness, it's so fun. I mean, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
Like, and I work in fitness. It's a choice that I need to do something hard. And I think for you, even using that term around other areas,
Intentional.
right?
Mhm.
Right.
You have to, and you go into all of those things knowing it's not going to be easy. So I like that you're choosing that term around it anyway. Just it speaks volumes to
Mhm.
decision making, and goal setting isn't. I listened to y'all's goal setting episode. It's not just fun and fluff and things that you just
Yeah.
throw out in the world and hope it happens and it's going to be easy. You go into all of those areas of your life and they're difficult, right?
Mhm.
Your spiritual
Yeah.
journey, though, like I love the Lord. At the same time, you have to be disciplined. You have to be
Mhm.
faithful. You have to all of the things. So I say that. So with Irontribe in general, who we are and our journey, Forrest had this vision of obviously community, but also he already saw the future of I don't want a gym of, and we don't talk bad about other gyms. So I don't mean this derogatory. I don't want a gym of machines bolted in. I want a room that as things change, not trends necessarily, but science has learned other things. I want a room that we can continue to pivot what's best for people in.
Yeah.
And not something that all of a sudden we have to rip everything out and change it and move it around. We knew that we wanted functional because functional is science forever, right?
Yeah.
Strength at its core, we know everyone needs muscles. That doesn't mean bulky, but at its core, you have to have muscles to then produce the chemicals in your body that then produce the dopamine, that then produce all of the things. And so to make certain that that's the core of just the business, right? As far as the science behind it. And then we'll layer in we've got a great product, our director of product, Kyle, who's always
Kyle's
thinking
Yeah.
for us, right?
Mhm.
So he's there behind the scenes, not doing any of the sexy work, but writing the workouts where people love them or hate them, but we know that they're right for the body, right?
Yeah.
So
There's a
that
lot of days that I like really question what he has done
so
as I'm doing it. I'm like, what did he
did
think?
your kids make you angry?
Yes. Yeah. How many Legos did you step on?
Yes. But he really uses science, which is nice to just comfort. No, I even had, y'all know Jessica. So Jessica's in charge of training our coaches. Ironically, and not to sidestep, but she was saying yesterday, y'all know Jessica, she's fit, right?
Oh, very.
Yes, almost like intimidatingly for her little bitty tiny self.
Yes.
She is amazing.
She said that the way we used to run Irontribe was a lot different in the very, very beginning, right? And Kyle was not our programmer. And she says back then her body hurt all the time. And she's 13, 14 years younger.
Mhm.
And now she's older, stronger, and her body hurts less because we've taken the route of making certain that the combination of movements are right
Mhm.
for the day, right? So anyhow, I just
You're
thought that
speaking
was
about
so
hurting. I will tell you when we had a beginning class
Yes.
when we started called 101. I remember this back at the mothership. Barbara and I probably had been to 2 or 3 of our initial classes
Right.
in this beginning class. And we were laying in bed one morning. And remember, this is 13 years ago. So we were in our early 50s
Mhm.
at that point in time, a lot younger. And Barbara, first words to me were, "Can you move?" And I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking, I thought for a minute and I said, "I'm not sure." We were so sore
Yeah.
initially. I'll also tell you, because we signed up for an initial, I think, 3-month
Mhm.
sign up
Mhm.
back then. And things have evolved and changed a little different the way.
She wasn't staying.
That's exactly
Uh-huh.
right. So
Yeah.
we were driving down Central Avenue on our way home, probably after about our 5th or 6th class. So we're about 3 weeks in. And Barbara said, you can do whatever you want to when this 3 months are up, but I am not continuing this. And here we are 13 years
Mhm.
later.
Well, there's
We're
something
still-
to it,
Yeah.
right? There's
Still-
Yeah.
something to doing the hard thing. Now we've grown and we've adapted to where you're not going to wake up in bed and wish your life didn't happen that day. But at the same time, there's something to making your body move in ways that it hasn't moved before,
Right.
right? And I think, back to even the vision for Irontribe, Alison, I'll never forget. It was, time wise, I'm terrible at, but it was a long time ago. And
Mhm.
you and I had a conversation and it just fit perfectly around what the vision of Irontribe was. And it's so fun to see it now actually come to fruition. And it was, I want to be able to push my baby in a stroller to the gym.
Yeah.
And you get to do that,
do.
like you're at the gym with
Mhm.
your mom and dad and husband and new baby.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, and I love bringing Laura to the gym.
Mhm.
Like she doesn't know what's going on.
No.
She's just sitting there in her
Right.
stroller with Miss Rachel on the phone, but she's there in the environment. And I just have to believe that
Mhm.
that's going to make her the best athlete
Mhm.
one day, probably the best athlete in our family.
Right.
Certainly, I don't want to say she's going to be the best athlete in the world, but she's going to be such a
Mhm.
great athlete because she's in that environment and she's growing up in that environment and she's around people that love her
Yep.
and know how hard we fought for her.
Yes.
Which is,
Absolutely. So they
nice
become
too. Yeah.
your family.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I know, again, anybody who's not a part of a gym right now listens to this and thinks, I do not want to be a part of that gym. I don't need any more friends. I don't need, but it just is something that happens. And that was kind of the holistic thing, was like, let's make a gym that, I don't want to go so much on science, but is scientifically and practically based, where you don't have to come in and think about it. The gym is meant for busy professionals who don't have a lot of time. Classes are 45 minutes, right? Either classes or sessions, depending on if you're doing our personal training or a group. And they don't want to think. Jack, you've made decisions all day long in your business. Alison, you've made decisions all day long in your business. Do you want to really decide if you're going to do reps of 10 or 12 that day and what movements? And how many of us lie to ourselves like, oh, 3 rounds, that's all I said I'd do. You said you'd do 5, right?
Yeah.
So who even wants to take that into their life when we can take the thinking out of it for the busy professionals?
Mm-hmm.
And you can trust that the professionalism we put into it is the same professionalism you put into your business, but you just now don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
And so that's holistically the family where you feel comfortable. You made certain that Alison joined. We wanted to make sure there's like a referral culture. If you love it, you tell others. And then additionally, we wanted to just make certain that we had something for everybody that could come in. We always say that Irontribe is for anyone, but not everyone, because not everybody wants to put in that.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me that when we walked in the door, and what brought me to Irontribe, and originally it started as a CrossFit gym.
Yes.
We don't talk.
I know.
about
That's why I was like, there used to be one that made you a lot more sore.
Yeah. But that was the very initial concept. It hasn't been for well over 10 years, but
Yes.
it's, but nevertheless, I really had gotten serious more about my fitness a few years earlier and started running a lot.
Yes.
And I had moved all the way up to doing a
Marathons.
marathon level
Amazing.
of running, and I was running about 2,000 miles a year, but I was having injuries. I was having a lot of IT band problems and that sort of thing. So I went to my sports medicine doctor, and I had some problems with my knee, not major problems. So it was just overworked more than anything. And she said, you need to do cross training. Well, I didn't know what cross training meant. And I didn't really even ask the question, what do you mean by cross training? But I had, in my running, had run by this place that said Irontribe, and it said at that time, powered by CrossFit.
Yep. So you're like cross
And
training.
I thought
That's
CrossFit, cross training, it's got part of the word in it. And so that's what, and so I decided to called on the phone and talked to a gentleman named Lewin, who we know and love, and set up an appointment. We came in and talked. And so when Barbara and I walked in, there was a class going on, and everybody looked like an Adonis in that class. There were a bunch of guys and that were doing some really significant weights with barbells. And I remember, and at that point in my life, neither Barbara or I had ever touched a barbell
Mm-hmm. Which is
our life,
amazing.
which is
Mhm.
amazing. I don't know how that happened, but we just didn't. And along the way. So I remember saying, I don't think we can do this. And that's when we were told, it says anybody can do this. We can adapt, scale, modify, adjust. But what we're going to do is we're going to improve you and help you to be what you want to be and to your potential. And so when somebody tells you, Karen, that they're too old, they're too fat, they're out of shape, whatever, and I'm afraid I'll get hurt.
Yes.
That's a
Yeah,
real
that's a-
common
that's a
thing.
real
Everybody
one.
always sits there and says, everybody gets, I've never gotten hurt at Irontribe in 13 years, and I've been there religiously. I fell on a run and tore up my shoulder
I've
and
seen
had to have
throw
shoulder
my back
surgery.
out.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I've also gotten hurt skiing,
Mhm.
and so, but I've never gotten hurt at the gym. So that's kind of amazing. So when somebody says that, and it's essentially, we were intimidated at the
Right.
beginning, but what do you say to somebody that is intimidated or feels like they're
Mhm.
beyond that help?
I think a lot of it is one of the things I hate hearing the most, and I hear it the most is, well, I want to get in shape before I come. And I just try to
Yeah.
process. I get it because I have
Mhm.
been out of shape. I've had seasons even while working for Irontribe where I've been out of shape. I get that you kind of get in this funk. You can't just put one foot in front of the other. It just doesn't work, right? And so at the end of the day, what I think works best in all areas of life is take action, right?
Mhm.
And I know that's easier said than
Right.
done. I'm not like a fake it till you make it, but I think there's one that I really like, be it till you become it. So it's not necessarily,
that's a
so
good one,
I
yeah.
love it. It just kind of
Mhm.
tells the story, I think, a little bit better. So if someone is sitting there on their couch right now, I can't do it, I don't want to do it, it looks too hard, just do it. And I
Yeah.
know that sounds okay, Karen, that's not rocket science, but I think the longer that you sit there and just think and
Mhm.
process and come up with excuses, because you're always going to find something to justify what you don't want to do,
Yeah.
right? Always. Well, it's raining or whatever it is, you're going to find that. So in the moment, I think Mel Robbins uses the 5 seconds, and you'll follow her at all. I don't know, but it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, take action, right?
Mhm.
Because if you're counting down, and a whole mental thing around it. But my biggest thing is I did a goal setting workshop. It's the reason I even worked for Irontribe years ago. And one of the things was pick something, a statement
Mhm.
that makes you move. And mine was I act now. So if I get in a funk or whatever, I just re-put on a post-it on my computer, I act now. And so my advice to most people is take action
Mhm.
first. Do your research. I'm not afraid if you want to research me, but don't over research. If you over research, you're not going to make a decision. The majority of gyms let you try a class, come in, get a consult. I mean, I want everybody, I think most people should come to Irontribe because I think I hire the best people.
Well, we're biased.
Yeah.
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 I'm biased, but I also know what goes in to the point that I made at the very beginning is I trust you, Jack Burnette, as a human because I've seen the work that you put in behind the scenes, right? That you
Mhm.
come in and you work out with integrity. And no matter what business you have, I trust you because I've seen that you don't cheat in an area of life that would be easy to cheat at, right?
Mhm.
And so it's kind of the same thing with this, right? I really believe that if people would make this decision in their life to just move forward, join a gym, take some action, trust a company that I believe is trustworthy. I know is trustworthy because I work behind the scenes
Yeah.
and I'm very passionate about that. My coaches care, like really care. We provide a
Mhm.
career for them. They want to stay forever, thankfully, knock on wood. And the majority of turnover we have with staff is promotion, or they've moved to a different state or something
Yeah.
like that. So our coaches are there for you. So the professionalism, we put them through certifications. So if you're worried about injury, we're not trying to push someone beyond their comfort level of their body, but push them beyond their comfort level of their mind. And I know that sounds a little woo woo, but a lot of times it's just, "Hey, you know what? I'll run with you, right? Let's
Yeah.
see how far we can go."
Mhm.
And our coaches really put that into play. Y'all know,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
all the time. So these people that are a little afraid, I believe if you'd step in and meet our people, don't look at the workouts, don't look at the
Mhm.
barbells, don't look at that stuff. If it's intimidating. I think what people will find is the soft place to land is with our coaches, because they're the people that are going to implement what it is. And if you can trust them, then the workout won't matter.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because you brought up the point that often somebody will say, I'll go to Irontribe after I get in
Yes.
shape.
Yes.
And the problem is that when somebody starts that on their own, and it's the same thing in financial fitness as well.
Oh, I'm
You know,
sure.
I'll go talk to a financial advisor after I work my
X amount
debt
of money,
down,
yeah.
or I
Yes.
get a certain amount of money and that sort of thing. The problem is that you misfire and you don't do it, and you don't have professional help and guidance and coaching along the way to help you solve the position of dissatisfaction you're presently in.
Yep.
So that's when you need that coaching even more,
Right.
whether it's in physical fitness or it's in a weight loss program or it's in pursuing financial goals. That's where you need the coaching the most.
Yep.
Is when you're in that position of dissatisfaction of something and you want to pursue that. And the problem is that people either try to do it on their own and misexecute, and that can lead to disastrous results or injury or things of that nature, because you don't know what you're doing. And there is truly a science behind all
Well,
of
and there's
that.
no one to root you on at that point when you have a bad day.
Yeah.
Correct.
You know, who's going to make you get out of bed? But I know y'all go in the afternoon. I'm going to go see Coach Alex.
Yes.
She's as sweet and as cute as she can be.
Right? You know, I will say this. One of the things that also that's so important to me is that it's a social community as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, I take my workout seriously. I don't take myself particularly that seriously. So I take my workout seriously. I don't. And
almost our whole 445 class feels the same way. A lot of us are there for the community and not necessarily because the workout is drawing us in. We're there for the people.
Chosen to go get margaritas.
We could
You
have.
are
And sometimes
choosing.
we talk about
now
that.
If
We're like,
I go out,
sort of across the street.
now if I go out and get margaritas, my clothes are going to be thrown off the balcony.
Yeah.
I can't throw away 26 years of sobriety.
Yeah.
So-
No.
You see what I'm saying? Like you get this community in so many other ways, but you're still using the healthy avenue.
But you know, when I walk into that gym, I probably don't leave that gym 45 minutes later
Regretting.
No, I never leave regretting the pain. But I probably, through the course of that time, get about 15 hugs.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's people that we're working out with, that we're doing this together. We're having fun. We're laughing. We're cutting up. We are sweating. We are doing everything. And there's such a culture of encouragement. You know, it's amazing how I'll have somebody over here that's doing a squat of significant weight, maybe 335 or something like that. And I'm doing mine significantly less, and they're encouraging me. And I find that so inspiring that they take.
It's like everyone just wants you to be the best version of yourself. And that's what's, I think, so powerful about that community. It's like, we just are all rooting for each other.
You know,
I agree.
You know, I'm not the old man there. I'm treated by my fellow colleagues and coaches like a rock star. And
Like you are a rock star.
so, but what that does is it makes it fun and inspiring, and you feel good about that. And then when you see the results and you look in the mirror and most importantly, you wake up in the morning and you feel good. You don't feel old.
Yeah.
And you don't feel run down, and you feel like you have energy that I can apply to a financial advisory practice so that my clients are getting my 100% undivided attention. All that's intertwined and to do that.
Well, I do have a question for y'all.
Okay.
And I may be like shooting myself in the foot with this question. And I genuinely mean, honestly. So, you know, you're starting to sit down and really evaluate people's financial goals and do a monthly retainer. And I absolutely love that business model. I think it's amazing. When you sit down and look at someone's budget, how important is that investment into fitness for you? Like when you're looking through,
Oh.
should they spend
Oh.
and should they not spend? Genuinely.
Oh, it's very
Absolutely, because there
important.
is an
Yeah.
investment involved
Right.
in here. One thing that people have always, I've heard people say this, that they felt like Irontribe was expensive.
Mhm.
Frankly, when I have looked at other things,
Starbucks.
Pilates,
is
Pilates,
Mhm.
yoga, that sort of thing.
If you did per class.
On a per
Mhm.
class basis, they're all about the same.
Right.
They all cost about the
Mhm.
same. So is it an investment?
Mhm.
Yes, because it's not free. I also think you're getting a very high quality return because you have professional coaches, you have people that take an interest and customize your workouts and your training, and to make sure you can, the way you get hurt in the gym is putting weight on bad form.
Right.
Mhm.
You know,
That's so true.
being trained and taught the proper way to do certain things
And ultimately that's ego,
is,
right?
Yeah.
it's certain,
Ego gets injury.
it's very important. And, so the person that's trying to lift more weight than they should, doing it with improper form, that's the person that's going to get hurt.
Mhm.
And that's not that's not what Irontribe is. You've got a high quality professional. I mean, I'm talking about a professional coach that's not just a gym rat that wants to have free access to a gym
Right.
that's coaching. So it's there. And it doesn't mean that Irontribe is the only model out there that works. So our listeners out there that are in markets where maybe there isn't an Irontribe, I'm biased. If you're in a market where there's
Yes.
an Irontribe
Go
location,
do it.
I think you ought to consider doing it. And but it is an investment.
Right.
And I think that it's just like anything else in life, you have to prioritize. And obviously, if it means you don't have, you're struggling to put groceries on the table, maybe now's not the right
Absolutely.
time. That's not it shouldn't be coming out of your grocery budget. But I would argue that the vast majority of people, when they sit down and really start looking at their budgeting and they look at what's important, those same people are maybe doing, they're hitting convenience stores for crap food and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Every
Or
time
hitting Starbucks every
time
day.
every time they get gas, they're going in and spending $14 on crap
Mhm.
and everything. Or you're going to Starbucks once or twice a day and that sort of thing. Not that there's anything against an occasional Starbucks, but
But it adds up.
but at
If that's your
$8 or
excuse,
$9,
yeah.
at $8 or
Mhm.
$9 a day, that's the way it can be. So I'd argue that most people have a way to put a fitness program, whether it's a physical fitness program or a financial fitness program, into their subscriptions
Mhm.
to make it work.
Yep.
Mhm.
If you're working a job and you're making that, you need to reorganize your budgeting and put priorities where you're going to get results.
That's good. Yeah.
And it's an investment, and the returns on that investment are darn near guaranteed.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're
And
in your control. How many things in
Yeah.
your life can you control,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
You can control the progress in the gym
And it's
your
not
bank
just the
account.
physical fitness. I would say that the social and emotional
That's true.
aspect of the culture it's an emotional pick-me-up as
Yeah.
well as the physical result. So I think it's very important. Let's talk a little bit about, before we wind things up, where Irontribe is. Here in Birmingham, we have 5 locations.
We
Is that
do.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So all over town, there's got to be one within 3 or 4 or 5 miles of you if you live in the Birmingham area. But we do have listeners that may be outside of the Birmingham area. So it's been fun to see over the last 14 and a half, 15 years, how Irontribe's gone from one little single location to how many?
31 and 11 more coming in the new year.
Okay.
So
Wow.
very excited.
And how many states?
Oh gosh, that's the one, 9, 10 states, I believe. Can't keep up with it
Yeah.
at this point. But we try to go into pockets. So like Nashville has 5 with 2 more coming. So they'll have 7
Okay.
supported in Nashville.
Right.
Greater area, right? 3 in Atlanta, 3 in Memphis, 2 in Baton Rouge. So we try to
Okay.
get those.
Greenville, South
Greenville,
Carolina.
yes.
Yes.
So we try to get those Charleston, 2 are in Charleston. And then 1 location, well, 2 in Huntsville, We've got one in Tuscaloosa, Auburn.
Yeah.
Tampa's coming. That one.
We're excited about the Tampa
And then
location.
Pensacola, too.
Yeah.
So we're getting some beach locations.
Yeah. So one thing that's been nice is and when we travel and we've traveled to cities that have an Irontribe, we've visited those gyms and we are welcomed with
Open arms.
open arms.
Yeah.
Good.
And we,
Mhm.
truly, when they hear we're from the Homewood location, the
The
mothership
mothership.
of
the
Irontribe,
beginning.
they all want to know what the mothership is like because apparently they hear about the Homewood location, it being
There's
Ground
something
zero.
special.
yeah
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's kind of fun. So
Well, that was part of Forest Vision too, is to create a consistent experience. Like I still consider us a small business if you look at the amount of staff we have that runs that many
Mhm.
locations, right? And we're small business. Every business is local. Like y'all, your manager at your location, you feel like they're the
Mhm.
owner, and that's the
Yeah.
goal. And they're treated as that as far as, pay and benefits and all that kind of stuff. But one of the visions was to create a consistent experience because with a lot of fitness concepts, and at the time we mentioned CrossFit, there's some great CrossFit gyms, genuinely.
Mhm.
And there's ones that aren't. But if you just looked up the name, you don't know what you're going to get. And
Yeah.
we really wanted Irontribe's name to give that comfort level of if you go to New Orleans, which I know y'all did and you loved your experience
Mhm.
there, you're going to have the same experience.
Yeah.
well, it's it is a brand that y'all have worked hard to build and protect
Mhm.
by maintaining a high quality
Right.
behind it. I would encourage people, if you're not in a market where there's an Irontribe, go research gyms. Our goals and objectives of still pursuing fitness
Right.
and in almost every market, there's great gyms in almost every market. And when we've gone out skiing, Barbara and I have visited a gym in Park City.
Mhm.
That's not it's not an Irontribe and
Mhm.
that sort of thing. But most gyms will have an opportunity to introduce you, give you a
Right.
chance. I think you need to give it 3 months
I
to
completely
really judge it. Don't judge it by 2 or 3 visits. Commit to do 3 months. 6 months is better
It is.
because you'll see results, you'll make
Mhm.
friends, and it's amazing. Allison and Adrian and I now
Mhm.
have clients
Mhm.
from Irontribe.
Yeah.
You trust each other.
Yes. And, we've worked out together, and sometimes it is somebody that we've worked out with for 4 or 5 years. And I will tell you, just today, we brought on a new client that is from Irontribe.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
that was this morning, right before we recorded this podcast.
I love that.
So, and it's someone we have known for how many years? Probably
6,
5,
7.
or 6.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
I love that.
it's
Yeah.
new client, and it's from Irontribe.
Mhm.
So,
I
that's
will say, and I use this sometimes as let's call it manipulative ploy. There are high level people at Irontribe. If you want to
yeah.
get in and
Oh, yeah.
make business connections, genuinely, they're there. And some
They
people,
are.
just to get people to come work out, they'll love it. But I'm like, that is a room full of powerful people.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's, it has been a real blessing in our life. I can't believe, I just can't even imagine
What our life would
what
look
my
like
life would be like
without.
had we not walked in the door 13 years ago.
And I'm really grateful because I think that y'all are kind of aging backwards. And as grandparents, that's a really good thing.
So
I
nice
think
for
y'all are
you
going to
be
be,
able to have.
It is kind of cool.
y'all
You
are
know,
going to be great grandparents and y'all are going to keep up with Laura just fine.
that's one thing, last thing I'll say. In 2023, I had new personal best in 7 different lifts.
No, we went through all your lists. It's crazy.
Yeah. And so I'm just as strong at 67 as I've ever been. And a part of that is because I'm getting great coaching and form to allow me to do that. It's not necessarily that I'm stronger. I'm probably getting better in form wise on some of these things.
Mhm.
But that's really a cool thing when you're, what some people consider old. I refuse to consider myself
No.
old, but that's a neat
But if
thing.
you look at other 67-year-olds not making the decisions you've made, completely different lifestyles, I mean, the
Right.
amount of
Yeah.
medications I'm certain they're on and in physical therapy and all the things because of lack of fitness, not because of
Mhm.
injury,
Right.
is drastically different
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you make that choice to care enough about your family to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And don't get me wrong, I had a cinnamon roll for breakfast.
Oh yeah, no, none of us are perfect.
So,
Seriously, you gotta live.
and I enjoyed it.
Good.
Yes,
The center part's the best.
absolutely. So Karen, if somebody wants to reach out and
Yep.
find Irontribe, how do they find you on the web? Or
Yeah, I mean, it's simple. It's just Google Irontribe, find us on Instagram, Facebook. You'll see reviews from real people and make your own decision based on if that sounds like a great community for you.
great. And then if you want to get in touch with us at eaterfinancialwellness.com, or you can email info@eaterfw.com,
Mhm.
and you can find us.
All right, great. Now you've made me want to go out and just pump some iron, guys.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. Well, today's the day to start, Wendy.
Exactly. Thank you very much. And thank you for listening today. Please like, follow, and share this podcast with your friends and family. Until next time, I'm Wendy McConnell.
Thank you for listening to the BamCam podcast with Jack Burnette and Alison Castellano from RFG Advisory. Click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit our website at rfgadvisorywealth.com/Jack Burnette or give us a call at 205-510-9072. And don't forget to click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available.
Content here is for illustrative purposes and general information only. It is not legal, tax, or individualized financial advice, nor is it a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any specific security or engage in any specific trading strategy. Information here may be provided in part by third-party sources. These sources are generally deemed to be reliable. However, neither our guest nor RFG Advisory guarantee the accuracy of third-party sources. The views expressed here are those of our guest. They do not necessarily represent those of RFG Advisory, its employees, or its clients. This commentary should not be regarded as a description of advisory services provided by RFG Advisory or performance returns of any client. The views reflected in the commentary are subject to change at any time without notice. Securities offered by registered representatives of Private Client Services member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered by investment advisory representatives of RFG Advisory LLC, RFG Advisory, or RFG, a registered investment advisor. Private Client Services and RFG Advisory are unaffiliated entities. Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where RFG Advisory and its representatives are properly licensed or exempt from licensure. No advisory services may be rendered by RFG Advisory unless a client agreement is in place. RFG Advisory is an SEC registered investment advisor. SEC registration does not constitute an endorsement of RFG by the Commission, nor does it indicate that RFG or any associated investment advisory representative has attained a particular level of skill or ability.